Hello. Hopefully this is working. Hello, anonymous internet Why am I looking over there? It's like that's the light. It's been a while since I've done this. Hello, anonymous internet profiles. My name is Tony Darnell, an actual person using his actual name. But, to be fair, a lot of you guys, especially the regulars on these streams, you guys use your real names too. So, welcome back to another dumpster fire that is a Deep Astronomy live stream. My name is Tony Darnell, as I've just said. And the reason I say it's probably going to be a dumpster fire is I am changing technologies yet again. So I hope you can hear me. Because I don't stream very much anymore, I've had to cut way back on all the cool stuff I had before. So I'm streaming now using OBS for the first time. It's not too bad, actually. It's a pretty nice little program. And hopefully I've got it configured properly so that you can hear me okay. Please let me know if there's any problems in the chat, and I will see them. So anyway, wow, been a while. Anyway, the reason I'm here, and you can thank Ryan K for this. He's here on the chat. I saw him earlier. There he is. That's his real name, in fact. So he's not an anonymous internet profile. He boosted Deep Astronomy's Discord server, and I'm boosting it too. And I would recommend, if you can boost it, to go and boost, because that is I like Discord a lot, and the reason I like it is that it's one of the few platforms that's out there right now that hasn't been corrupted by algorithms and making money. But this stuff's not free, so I do want to support them by providing whatever income I can with this. Just boosting my server. You pay like some money for it each month. I think it's $5, $4, something like that. And it helps both me and Discord stay alive, but mostly Discord, because I really like that platform. And I want to support things. I want to pay for things that aren't gathering my data and harvesting it for their capitalistic purposes. So Discord is one of those platforms. The link, I think, is I have an invite in the description box, so please join our server if you want to partake in what can only be described as riveting Discord. Now, we have good conversations. We have a lot going on, but it could be better. I'd like a little more engagement. Not just one person or two people posting. I'd like more of us to get involved. It's a good way to see what everybody's doing, what I'm doing, and to know what you guys even want to deal with. This is one of the results of that, because you guys have been wanting live streams, and so we're here on YouTube, anonymously for most part. So let's get going, because there's a class of YouTube commenters that their time is extremely valuable. I come on YouTube and I'm here to see content. I don't have time for banter. Let's get going with the content. My time is valuable. Harumph, 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 right? So for you guys, the TLDR version of this stream is getting a job in astronomy. Can you do it without a degree? The TLDR answer is yes, you can, but you're going to be limited. And to find out how you're going to be limited, you're going to have to actually watch the stream. Sorry, Elon Musk level time value. I mean, you guys are really... Sorry. I get put off with these guys because they yell at me for wasting their time. As if being on YouTube isn't the definition of having your time wasted. But I digress. So let's talk about it. Getting a job in astronomy. I'm going to talk about this for about 15, 20 minutes or so, and then we will take questions, comments. I'm looking at your live chat, and Stay Primal's around. It's good to see you. Ryan K, it's good to see you too. Galaxia, it's always a pleasure to see you as well. She's a big contributor on Discord. Got us some really great emojis to make it a lot better there. So thank you, Galaxia, for those efforts. Thank you again, Ryan, for what you've done to boost the server as well. Okay, so this is advice. This is streams I've done before, how to get a job in astronomy. And not a lot's changed. Some of the stuff is, but one of the things that has changed is the level of your education and the way in which you can qualify for some of these jobs that are in the field of astronomy. Now, I am going to tell you that you can get a job in astronomy without a degree, but I'm also going to tell you that you are only going to get a certain type of job, and you're only going to be able to go so far with it, and that may or may not be okay for you. So let me just break down the different kinds of astronomy jobs that there are. There's the biggie, the one that everybody thinks of when they want to become, they want to work in the field of astronomy. They think they have to become an astronomer with a capital A. These are the people that have gone to gotten their bachelor's degree in either astronomy or physics, and they've gone to graduate school, gotten a master's degree in either physics or astronomy, astrophysics, or I'll talk about the difference in that in a minute. And they've also gone on to get a PhD. I'll tell you now, there's only really two education levels in astronomy. There is, well, three. There's no education level, no college degree. There's a bachelor's degree, which is what I have, and there's a PhD. Forget the master's. The master's is going to do you no good whatsoever. A master's tells people, prospective employers, that you didn't finish the PhD program. A master's degree is incidental. It's what you get on the way to getting your PhD. But it's not a goal in and of itself most of the time. Now, it will qualify you to be a lecturer in some community colleges and maybe even be a professor, but again, only in community colleges, not in any kind of university or academic environment. You need to get that PhD if you want to get to an astronomy with a capital A. Also, if you're super ambitious and you want to be a project scientist for a mission like JWST or Grace Roman Space Telescope or Vera Rubin Telescope or Kepler or any of these things you hear about, TESS, all these missions that you hear about. If you want to be a project scientist, a program scientist, or a project manager, any of those kinds of things for these big missions, you're going to need the PhD. So no way around it. You're going to have that. And then you're going to have to know a lot of people, and you're going to have to be really ambitious. A lot of schmoozing, but that's a different level for another stream, because I can't even imagine what it would be like to get to that level. But it is exciting, and it is where you can make a real quote unquote difference in the field if you want to. So that's level one. That's the biggie, is the PhD level. I'm going to forget masters, and then there's the bachelor's degree. Now the bachelor's degree is good for. I have one in physics, even though I spent most of my time as a software engineer, and I'm going to advise you to get a bachelor's degree in physics, not computer science, not Greek history, not anything else, because physics is the one degree that I feel will always be worth the money you pay for the tuition for it. It can easily be argued in this day and age that a college degree isn't what you pay for, isn't worth what you've paid for. Many of these, and it's true, in many of these degrees, they're way overcharged in tuition. If you're in the United States, it all comes out of your pocket. If you're in the UK, you're lucky enough to get assistance with that. But still, Charlotte had to pay. She's got 3 masters now, and she had to pay, and she's all gone to colleges in the UK. So you only get so much help there as well, although maybe you get more. She didn't. So there isn't a lot of program assistance, except that going into debt for student loans, which we've heard a lot about recently. It's one of those debts that if you got into debt to become a physics major, it might actually be worth it. It might be a good debt. I don't know. It depends on where you go. It depends on if you paid out-of-state tuition and all of that kind of stuff. But it can easily be argued that many degrees are not worth what you pay for them. That's not true with a physics degree. So I believe, because for reasons I'll outline in just a minute, skills. This is the big thing that's changed lately. Used to be, we would make our CV or resume in the United States, and we put all the things that we could do on it. I know C. I know C++. I can program in Python. And you start listing all the things that you can do on your resume skill-wise. Those are hard skills, and they used to be looked at pretty hard, scrutinized pretty closely. Well, does he have any experience in NCC? Yeah, it looks like he's done 3 years worth of work in that. That's good. Well, does he have any experience using Microsoft Office? Yes, it looks like he's got some skills in Microsoft. That's good. Okay, well, that's just bring him in for an interview then. But things have changed now. What's valued more and what's looked at, I think, more by HR departments and certainly by scientists in the field now, are soft skills. And these are things like, can you solve a problem for yourself? Can you work on, can you look at something differently? Do you have any critical thinking skills? That's a very vague skill to have. Critical thinking. What does that mean? Well, it means that you don't just buy everything you're being sold, right? You think about it something for a minute. You go, you know what? That makes some sense, but I don't get this. How come this is weird? And explain this to me. And call people out on their stuff so that you can understand it and then make your own path forward in solving a problem. Critical thinking skills are what you get. That's the primary value, I think, of a physics degree. They teach you how to do that. You get that as a result of knowing how to do Schrodinger's equation, how to derive Maxwell's equations, how to go through classical mechanics problems and all this stuff. You sit there just doing just weeks and weeks and weeks of problem sets as a physics undergrad. You just do. But you also spend time in the lab doing some very famous laboratory experiments like the Millikan oil drop experiment, things like that. And you get a sense of what it's like to start solving these problems after you've done it about 1 billion times. I was so fed up in my senior year of physics because I was starting to get resentful that I couldn't have access to my own brain. My brain was too busy thinking about physics problems and how to solve physics problems, and I wanted to do what I called recreational thinking. I wanted to think for a minute about something else, anything else but physics. But I couldn't do it because I had to focus on this next test. I had to focus on this exam or this lab report or whatever it was I was working on. It's a hard degree, but you come out of it with this ability to think like a scientist and to actually solve problems. And how well you can do that will get you far in the job market. And it's also another soft skill is how well do you work with others? I was okay at that. I was okay. But really, it's more important than ever, right? You're going to be a part of a collaboration. You're going to be working with other people. Can you play nice with others? That's a big deal. Another soft skill. Can you express yourself? Either written or verbally. And that's a big one. One of the things I really enjoyed about having my physics degree at the University of Colorado at Boulder was that as part of the curriculum, I don't know if they still do this, but as part of my getting the degree, I actually had to take classes and other things, which was great. It got me out of the physics building, and I could go to places. I took a Greek mythology course. I took a philosophy of religion course. I took a history of film. Anything that wasn't related to science, I took it, and I loved it. But the philosophy of religion class in particular taught me how to write and how to put down an idea and how to convey it to others. And if I had to rank which of these soft skills are the most important, I'm going to say, and you may disagree, expressing yourself is the first one. Conveying your idea. I can't tell you how many smart people I met at meetings or whatever. Really brilliant scientists. And you didn't know it because they couldn't understand a word they were saying. They couldn't express themselves very well, whether in their own language or in English. It doesn't have to be English. It just has to be, you need to be able to express yourself in whatever language, in whatever culture you're in. And that is probably the most important thing you need to have to get a job. If you can express your ideas, if you can say what you're thinking in a way other people can understand, you're going to get far just because they understood what you said. Now, your ideas may be bunk, and you better be prepared to defend them. That's where critical thinking comes in. But that's the landscape of the job market now, soft skills. And yes, it's important in OC. It's important in it. But you know what? You get that. That's why I don't have any computer science training, except I did take a C class in community college. But I don't have any other formal computer science training because you can learn that stuff. Either teach yourself or you could take a professional development course while you're on the job to learn that stuff. But it's this other stuff, the stuff that you get as a physics major that you can't. I think it's worth the price of tuition. I do. Now, whether it's worth it to go on to get a a PhD after that, only you can answer. When it came time for me to decide, I said no because I had a young family, and I didn't want to spend any more time in school. I was sick of it. So, and I knew I had to pass what's that? What's the graduate test you got to take here in the United States? You have to take some graduate exam. I forgot the name of it now. It eludes me because I'm old. But anyway, you have to pass that. You have to pass the general GRE. You have to pass the general GRE and the physics GRE. The physics GRE kicks your butt. It's like an entire 4 years of physics right there in one test, and you have to take it pretty much after you graduate. Otherwise, you forget all that crap. So anyway, you got to take that. Then you gotta pass comprehensive exams. That's what gets you your master's. And once you've gotten your comprehensive exams done, that's it for the coursework. Then you get to finally do research. So I just said, like, no, that's not for me. I don't want it. I don't care if I'm an astronomer with a capital A. So now, it used to be, sorry, my microphone stand's cheap. It used to be that it was huge that you had a bachelor's degree. You're going to see, I'm going to go through some job listings here in a minute. The bachelor's degree is important. It is. Because the last people to change any of their thinking are going to be academia, especially when it comes to education. Of course, they're going to want everybody to have as many degrees out the ass as they can have, because the more degrees you've got, they're going to love that crap. They're all about, they're in that field. So of course they're going to want you to have it, but it is changing. I'll tell you a quick story. I've told this on the podcast too, just recently, but I was working at Space Telescope Science Institute, and there was a kid here. There was a kid there. He was very precocious, very smart guy, knew his stuff, and was very driven to learn more. And he didn't have a degree. He had a high school education, might even had a GED. I can't remember, but anyway, I worked with him because I had a lot of background in science software, and taught him some, I told him what he should concentrate on and what he should work on. And then he did. He became very good. He understood what the scientists were working on. He understood what their problems were, and he helped to solve them. And then he applied for a job that normally would have required a degree. It was a computer programming type job, and he got it. Now, I don't know what he's up to now. He may still be there, but he might not be. I don't know. I left in 2016, mostly because they wouldn't let me work from home. They had this big push back when I was there that, oh yes, remote work is the best. But then they wanted me to come in once a week. I wanted to live in Florida and work there, because living in Baltimore is not fun. At least not to me, it wasn't. I wasn't my cup of tea. And so they wouldn't let me do it. I had to come in once a week. So I said, okay, I'm going to leave. And I left. Otherwise I would have stayed. But they were very into remote work at the time. But if he's still there, he's probably still doing the same thing, because as I pointed out, you're only going to get those kind of jobs. And some of those jobs that require no degree, and I'll show you one in a minute. There's that was called an RIA, which I think is Research Instrument Analyst, but it's a programming job, programming, writing software. And then there are telescope operator, telescope maintenance, and instrument maintenance, facilities maintenance kind of jobs. Again, those don't require degrees. They usually have or equivalent kind of things put in their job searches. So but that's about it. That's going to be it. You're going to be, that's your entry and your exit point. You can't go any higher without a degree. So you have to think about that. That's fine for a lot of people. I knew one of the observers at the Mauna Loa Solar Observatory in Hawaii did not have a degree, and he was there 20 years doing it. I'm seeing your questions, but I'm not looking at them on purpose because they distract me, and I really need to do this, or I'll because I have the ADD, so I have to not look at that to get my point across. So anyway, he was very happy, did it for 20 years, was paid reasonably well, could raise a family on that kind of money, and that was good. So it's a very individual decision, as with all things in your career. All right, so let's see if I can get this to work. There we go. Here's my picture-in-picture thing. This is the place you always need to start. AAS.org, jobregister.aas.org. Start here. Every job I ever got, I got from here. All right, and just go through it. And it happens to be it happens to be organized in pretty much the same hierarchy I just outlined to you. There's the PhD level jobs. There's also another level job called postgraduate. You've got to have a PhD for that, but it's the kind of job you get right after getting your PhD. And it's a very stressful time, by the way, to be a postdoc. Anyway, they don't make a lot of money, but they are necessary jobs. You've got to do that. It's just part of a rite of passage. And I may talk about that in a bit more. But anyway, so there's faculty positions, visiting and non-tenure. These are all going to be PhD level jobs. You can just, bet on it. There's various universities around the world, and in this case, the United States. But almost everybody I know, every major facility tends to advertise on this site. More faculty positions, lecturers in physics and astronomy. Here's the head of ALMA, which is interesting. I bet that requires a PhD. And it was another interesting one I saw. Maybe they found it. Maybe they filled it already. Last time I checked this site, they were looking for a director of the Space Telescope Science Institute. So I guess Ken Sembach is leaving, and they're looking for a new director for that. So these would be all your PhD level stuff. Again, these are from all over the world. Here's one from Bonn, and there was another one. Oh, look at this, Newcastle. I just have to click on this because that's where my wife is from. So let's see. This is a lecturer in data science at Newcastle University. It's a great place to work with excellent benefits. Lecturer grade. You can make, wow, look at this. You can make $40,000, £40,000 per year. Have until Valentine's Day to apply. What's in it for you? It tells you all about that. We seek candidates whose research aligns with one of the following areas. Data science, astrostatistics. I've never heard of that. Mathematical biology and epidemiology. So we particularly seek candidates with these following areas. In these areas, let's see what it says. Evidence. Here we go. Demonstrate ability to supervise PhD students. I don't think they list. Oh, here it is. Qualifications. PhD. So this would be a PhD level course or job. So anyway, I won't be applying, but it's cool because it's in Newcastle. So Peter, you should apply for this. I know you're out there. All right. Okay, so let me go back. What is this about? Okay. And these are the postdocs. Postdocs are they're all over the world, and there are generally 6 months to a year to 2 years. They're terms. They're not permanent jobs, but they are taken with the idea that you will develop your skills and apply, keep applying, keep doing research, write papers, get your name out there so that you can get one of these tenure track positions. This is a very stressful path to take, a ladder to take. I know many PhDs in physics and astronomy who left because it was very stressful, and to do all this, get the postdocs, find the tenure track jobs are all extremely competitive. Only I think 5% of the people who apply or something like that get them. So it's a real competitive thing to be involved in. That was another reason I said no to this. But these are all the postdocs, and there's a ton of them. That's going to be the most of the job listings you see. All of these are postdocs. All of these. And then they have it broken down into grad positions. These are grad schools you can apply to. These are people looking for PhD students. Here's where you're going to spend your time. The science engineering section. This is where I spend all my time anyway. And things like telescope instrumentation engineer. Click on that. Let's see what they want. They want a minimum of 5 years of experience in development of cryogenic systems. working on, oh, they want a master's degree in this case. So these are desirable though. It doesn't say it's required. So you can still apply with it for this if you had a bachelor's degree and you wanted to live in Chile, because this instrument is part of the well, you'll be working with the observatory manager in Chile. So that one's pretty cool. Let's see. Here's one in Edinburgh. Looks pretty good. This would be interesting. It doesn't say what the no, it doesn't say what the a good honors degree, it says, or equivalent. I don't know what that means. I don't know what an honors degree is. Engineers. This is from McDonald Observatory in Texas. Let's see. For more details, go there. Let's go there. Mechanical engineer, McDonald Observatory. Responsibilities, qualifications. Here you go. Bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering or field related to the work. Another value of physics is that it relates to everything. And so that degree will get you in the door for just about anything you're interested in, including engineering degrees. All right, so that's an engineer there. You could be the chief of operations at Smithsonian Astrophysical Observatory. Oh, here it is, the director of STSCI. Let's see what they want here. Maybe I'll qualify. It's in Baltimore, I guess. So they have a search committee. If you're a veteran, oh, I'm a veteran, you get extra things. Jim Bullock, I know him. I didn't know he was. Oh, he's in the just the search committee. He doesn't work. I think he's in California. Anyway, you have to email these guys if you want to be in the director of STSCI. You can be sure you're going to need to have just a little bit more than a bachelor's degree in that, or even a PhD. Let's see, Roman spectroscopy scientist, physicist, and radio astronomer. Here you go. That one's probably going to be PhD level. SETI Institute. I just talked with Beth yesterday about this. They're looking for our PI. This is in the other area. So this area, this section, scientific and technical staff. Here's another one. Let's see what this web software developer is all about. This is for AVSO. Dang, look at that pay range. That's pretty good. Let's see. Prior experience with AWS. Now that's a specific hard skill they want. They want you to have AstroPi, another hard skill. But 2 years developing applications in Python. But you know what I'm not seeing? I'm not seeing degrees. So, got a 35-hour work week, 401k plan. It's pretty nice. ABSO. This would be good. Pay's certainly good. I may apply for this. I could do this job. So, yeah, especially if they'll let you work remotely. All right, so that's a preview of the AAS job register. But one of the things I've gotten a lot of questions about lately, and let's see, one of the things I've gotten a lot of questions about lately is the what it's like to do some of these jobs, like be a telescope operator or be on the maintenance crew or whatever. So let's go and let's take a quick look here. I just typed in Mauna Kea observatories. If you go to any of the websites like keckobservatory.org or auraastronomy.org or whatever it is, they will have a careers section. You just click on the careers thing. And as I was doing that, they had 2 job listings. This is in hilo.hawaii.edu Mauna Kea/jobs. Okay. And they had 2 that looked interesting. One of them was a night operation assistant and a mechanical telescope technician. So I clicked on these. The night operation assistant pays you $3,000 a month. It needs a bachelor's degree from an accredited university or a technical field. So again, your science degree, but will help you here. But and it wants 1 year or it's actually 0 to 1 year of working experience in science. So this is an entry-level job. Knowledge of basic astronomy concepts, word processing, spreadsheet software. Those are your hard skills. They'd like you to have some, prior experience in optics, things like this. But this is an operational assistant thing. Let's see what it looks like. You'll assist the observation system associate during nighttime operations by starting up and shutting down the telescope, following an established procedure, taking calibration data for the instruments by following an established procedure, monitoring the safety and health of the personnel at the summit, checking the system and the weather periodically, recording them in an online log, and operating the system from the console or from the control panel under the oversight of an OSA, which is probably the main. That's the main operator. You're just going to, I guess, in this case, be an assistant. That requires a degree, okay? But this one is a mechanical technician, telescope technician. And let's see what the duties are. They carry out mechanical tasks for the observation and support system, including the enclosure of the telescope equipment and facilities at the Mauna Kea or at the Hilo facility. Daily safety functional checks. You need to do technical tasks for the operation system, but not limited to the telescope, the instrument exchange system, and instruments, things like that. You'll work on special maintenance, such as snow and ice removal. Majority of the work is at the telescope site at Mauna Kea. Let me tell you something, that's kind of a big deal. That's high, 11,000 feet. And it's a big drive up there. It's a 3-hour drive from Hilo, maybe a little bit longer from Kona. But you're probably going to have to live in Hilo because that's where University of Hawaii is. And but look here, associate's degree from an accredited community college or graduation from an accredited trade apprenticeship program. You need to have a high school or GED. So this is attainable. This is something you can do. Now they list it this way in their website job description. But if you went there and you were particularly precocious or very much indeed interested in this, and you did not have some of these qualifications, but could convince them that you could do these things, I would bet that you could get this job. I don't know. It's just how I would do it. If I didn't have any degree, I would go for this job and tell them how bad I wanted it, how much I could do it, and give them some idea of why. And so this is an example. I just picked one out of the web page. There aren't many of these. I'm not going to lie to you. This is not like, you can pick and choose. But they are becoming more prevalent. So, yeah. All right, that went a half an hour. That was a little bit longer. So, oh, yeah, thank you. Hopefully you can still hear me. Yeah, this is it's cheesy. So I used to have cool stuff. I used to pay money to stream. Now everything is free and cheap. My other expensive one that went down and kind of did that, it broke. And now all I have is this like $10 one that's like, I have to be real careful. Yeah, this doesn't so anyway, thanks for letting me know. Okay, so I don't know. Do you guys want to get a job in astronomy? Like everywhere else, people are in demand. Jobs are in demand. AI is not going to take your job yet in astronomy. Where AI is going to shine, though, and where it will kick your ass, is in data processing. But you don't care because nobody looks at all the data. Anyway, nobody looks at individual images from telescopes anymore. It's all done through a pipeline. So AI is going to kick ass there, and it's going to make discoveries from existing data sets that no human being could ever make. But then we don't do that now anyway. We write software for it. So if you can become good at handling large data sets using these new AI tools that are coming out, Jesus, you could write your own ticket, man. And a degree or not, you could walk in and say, you know what, I kind of know about this open AI stuff. And I can prove it to you. They're not going to ask you for a degree. They're going to say, yeah, man, can you help it go through this data? And they'll be like, I don't know, maybe. We'll see what we can do. All right. So, all right, let me go through. Let me see. So I have 2 chat thingies. Can I go up and down? Ooh, lots of chatty things. Okay. So let me scroll way up. Sorry, guys, I cannot look at that chat. while I'm just trying to get out an idea, because I'm just not a multitasker. Charlotte, boy, she could like do 10 things at once. Me, I can't do it. Uh, James Bond is here. I wonder if that's an anonymous internet profile. My ambition is to be a doctor, but I love astronomy and astrophysics. I will study it to the fullest in my lifetime. Thank you for being a conduit for astronomical knowledge. You're welcome. I do not envy you, 007, because one of the things that Charlotte and I have been getting involved in is this idea of there's a test that doctors have to take called Casper. It's a acronym for something. I don't know. Anyway, it's a test. Of course, this is America. All we have are standardized tests for everything. And where doctors have to take it, and it's a test of their ability to, their empathy, their morality, they put them in these situations, and they have to answer it in a certain way. And if you want to get into the school that you want to go to, schools use this test, and you can only take it. No, that's not true. You can take it many times, but you don't always know how you did, and they use it to determine whether or not you can get into that college. It's a tough test. Anyway, we've been writing some software and videos to help people pass this test, and in the course of making those videos, I got mad respect for what doctors have to go through. It's nothing at all like PhDs. I mean, it's stressful to go the PhD route in astronomy because you have to do things in a certain way. Like when you get your degree, you get your PhD, you have to become a postdoc. And then you have to, like I say, it's like you're a dancing monkey. You really do have to write papers, and you have to, and you will be under a tremendous pressure to do this. And you have to build a network. You have to network this whole time that you're a postdoc. And if you spend too long as a postdoc, that's frowned on, right? Oh my God, he's been a postdoc for 5 years. Oh man, he's struggling, right? So it's hard to then get that tenure track position, not to mention that everybody wants the positions you want. And so what I've noticed, I didn't have to go through this, but what I've noticed is less stressful is if you don't go down the data modeling route, like if you don't become a theorist, but you become an experimentalist or an instrumentation person. If you get your PhD in astronomy or astrophysics and you can build cameras and you can build software that processes the data that come off of those cameras, you're much more likely to get a job. Because, I mean, an example is Emmanuel Bertin. He's a French astronomer who wrote as his PhD thesis a piece of software called Source Extractor. And it's used as a standard to this day in astronomical pipelines. You can get it at astromatic.org, I think. It's the O is a 0, so you got to be careful with that. But anyway, he is well renowned and wanted across the field. So that approach is available, I think, better than if you just went into the strictly data theory idea. Like you come up with a theory and then you do all the math for it. I don't think what we need are any more theories. I think what we need is more data to figure out which theories are worth keeping around. So it's stressful to be a PhD, but not as bad as what 007's going through here with being a doctor. So good luck to you, buddy. Okay. I'm just going to scroll all the way to the top. All right, see if there's anything. I use my real name. Yes, you do, Ryan. I appreciate that. Altogether Adam. Altogether is my real name. Yes. Okay, I'm going to start calling you that, man. Let's see. Hey, Galaxy, I hope you're doing well, brother. Well, okay, you might want to work on that. Maybe I don't know what her pronouns are. I should probably be quiet on that. Which is the best institute for astronomy study? This is from Tushar Agrai. Sorry, I'm butchering your name. What is the best institute for astronomy study? I don't know that matters as much. You can say that your degree is from, like, say, Harvard or Princeton, Oxford, whatever these universities are. That's not going to be the deciding factor on whether you get a job or not. It's going to be nice, I suppose, to say that you went there, but I don't think it's worth the money or the stress of getting in to have to worry about going. I've seen people with degrees from, like, I don't know, University of Montana State or something. I'm just picking that out. Montana State's actually a good university, but you know what I mean. Some smaller, unknown state university or even a community college, and doing quite well. You can't get a PhD from a community college, but if it's part of your where you went to school, I just don't think it matters. I could be wrong, but I have yet to hear. I've been on some hiring committees where I've looked at candidates, and I don't think a single time we've ever gone, "Oh, look at this, Yale. Well, let's hire this guy just for that reason alone." So I'm going to tell you that almost all, and I don't know if you're in the United States or not, but if I don't even have experience with United States universities, but if you went to any of the state universities in any state of the United States, I said state a lot of times right there, you're going to do okay. All of those are good. Some are better. Some are more interesting than others. Like Mexico State University has a good history with Clyde Tombaugh because he went there and he taught there, and so you get some cool stuff like that depending on where you go. George Gamow went to my university, right? Carl Sagan taught at Cornell. So if you want that kind of thing, then it kind of matters, right? What university you go to. But other than that, I don't think it matters. So I would say any reputable college in the United States is going to do fine, especially if you're taking a physics degree. I'm not saying go out and get, and I don't want to like talk bad about like Greek history or something, but it's not going to get you a job. And if it's worth it to people who can afford to pay the tuition on that and then have the knowledge. But if you're looking at getting a degree as a window into getting a job, man, physics is the best value, I think. and it's better than astronomy, and I'll tell you why. Astronomy, the degree, is not as rigorous as physics is. It's easier. You don't have to take a lot of math that you got to take as a physics major. And so you're not as prepared, I don't think, especially if you're going to do a lot of theory later on. So I wouldn't recommend an astronomy undergraduate degree. And as far as the difference between astrophysics and astronomy, well, I don't think there is a difference. I certainly don't think there's a difference between an astronomer and an astrophysicist other than how cool it sounds. It sounds cooler to say astrophysicist. That's why everybody calls themselves that. But they're just astronomers. There's no real difference. But the course of study of astrophysics may require a few extra physics courses that you wouldn't get as an astronomy student. There's no big difference, though. It's all just, it sounds cool. So, all right. Speaking of pay, jobs in astronomy don't tend to pay much, dude. That's not true. I mean, did you just see what we went through? Some of these jobs are, $3,000 a month isn't maybe great, but that's an entry-level job, right? I mean, you're talking, 50, 60. I was making six figures when I left. I was making over $100,000 a year as a software engineer. So that's pretty good money. I don't care who you are. That web designer, you just see that web designer? That was in the $60,000 range. I'd take that job. So I think they do pay good. Let's see. Peter's saying it's always good to think about why we do things, art, philosophy, all that. Yes, it is. May the sound be a little louder, please. I know you aren't well and soft-spoken. I turned the gain down. Does it really need to be? All right, I'll turn it up. I was trying to keep the hiss down. There. Sorry, it was well into the stream before I saw that. Anyway, that may be too loud now. I don't know. Let's see. Tony will say there is no mistakes. There's only happy accidents. Oh, there's mistakes. Let's see. I'm just reading to see. Stay Primal. Thank you for what you taught me. A few weeks ago, I did a marathon of deep space. I watched all the lives, one after the other. It took me like a week. God, I've Wow. Thank you, man. That must have been painful. Some of these streams were not very technically good. Um, all right. I'm sorry I just saw this. It's louder now. Um, let's see. College is becoming obsolete. This is from Eric W. All information, educational or otherwise, is free online. Um, well, yeah. I do think college is too expensive. I think that what you got to pay to get the degree is way too much. You go into any college campus, at least when I was going, this would have been the mid 90s, early 2000s. All they were doing was building buildings. I mean, just constantly building crap, you know. And they didn't need to build these new buildings. They just had the money, right? And they were flush with cash. And now that the job market has gotten so tight, you know, they could, a lot of people can get jobs without a degree. But I think they charge too much over the decades, and I think they cost way more than they should. And I think the value of them as a consequence has gone down. So I'm seeing a lot of red now. I need to turn this down. I've got the gain up too high there. All right, because I've also got it close to my mouth. So I don't know. If I had it to do all over again, you know, I was able to get through my degree with a minimum of student loans, but I'm 60 years old and I still have $12,000 in student loans that I'm paying off. So I don't know. I still got debt over that, but I managed to do it with a grand total of, well, gosh, I don't remember now, but it wasn't as much as some people. It was certainly under 50K, and I got a lot of grants and I was also working as I was going to school, so I was able to pay a lot of that as I went. But yeah, man, I just don't know. I'm not a big fan of the tuitions right now. And my son, who was in the same program I was in at CU, left it because of the debt, and I couldn't afford to pay his tuition. So I don't know. The value of these things is questionable. Some degrees. I will stand by what I said about physics. What I would do these days is try to get that degree at the cheapest university I could. I says because as I pointed out, I don't think it matters where you go. No one looks at. There's two things they don't look at: where you went and what classes you took, because and what grades you got in those classes. They don't look at that. They just look at the degree. Do you have a degree? Yes, no. Okay, cool. Can you do this job? Yes, no. What are your soft skills? That's going to be a big one. So yeah. So yeah, John, this is John Suffolk's commenting. When I went to college, I got a grant. Nowadays, you get a loan and end up with a load of debt. Yeah, as I mentioned, Charlotte has 3 masters now, one in philosophy, theology, and speech language therapy. And she's had to go into debt to get those. We've had to go into debt to do that. So yeah, it's not free anymore. I thought there was a time when it was. I'm told there was a time in the past where this is from Eric, where one didn't need to pay a house mortgage for an education. Yes, it's that bad. It's that bad, especially in some of the fields like being a doctor. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of what it costs now to do that. Okay, so that's that topic, and I went through a lot of the chat, which was cool. Okay. Remember? Oh, let me not do that yet. Remember how I told you that I don't think there's any hope of finding any life, intelligent life in the universe? Well, I may be rethinking that. I know you guys have seen this, so let me show you that. But before I do you guys remember this? Do you remember this? This is the face on Mars. This is an image from the Viking spacecraft in orbit over Mars in the 1970s. Took this picture. And any reasonable person who knows anything about anything would know and look at this and say, you know what, that's a face. That looks just like a face. Well, so a few years later, they flew over that same spot. Not a few years later, a few decades later. And it turns out that looks like this. There's the face on Mars. That was a higher resolution camera, so oh well, not intelligent life. Now, let's be fair here. This is a topic that a lot of relatively smart people have gone and said, there's life on Mars. Percival Lowell built the observatory in Arizona to study canali that Giovanni Schiaparelli found on the surface of Mars. They were so sure these were built by Martians. And they even had green zones and different kind of zones of life and all of this stuff on the planet's surface. So, a lot of really smart people over the years thought there was a lot of intelligent life on Mars. Well, I'm finally convinced. And here's why. Enough said, right? This is an image from the high-res camera on MRO. Life in the universe, folks. Teddy bears. Did you know that? Teddy bears. That's it, folks. Life in the universe. Proof. Look at that. So clearly built by people or by Martians. Life in the universe. All right. Okay. It was a lame joke, but anyway, cool. It was a cool picture, though. That they just released that. I'm not these rovers and these orbiters on Mars and other planets are kind of cool, but I find them kind of boring because, I don't care about rocks. I try to care about rocks, but I just don't. And I tell you, some of these formations are cool. Certainly that teddy bear was cool. But the I don't know. Once we've mapped out the planet and we've been there for a while, I'm kind of done with all that. They might still find something there on microbe wise or something on Mars, and that would be a big deal. But it'd only be a big deal if we can prove also that it didn't come here from Earth, which is because what we don't want is to contaminate Mars with our own microbes and then say we found life in the universe. We want to find a spot where life evolved, or at least came about, independently of the planet Earth. And so if they make that discovery on Mars, that's bad news. Because if they find life on Mars and then determine that it was independent of Earth, that it didn't come from here, then what that means is we have two examples in the same solar system of life independently evolving on two quite different planets, which means that life is easy to start and it should be everywhere. But it isn't. So what happened? And are we yet to face whatever happened? It's called a great filter. You've heard me talk about it before. But it's bad news, I think, if we do this on Mars, Enceladus, Titan, Europa, whatever moon you want to pick on the solar system. We find life there, and it had nothing to do with Earth whatsoever. That's not great, because that means that we still have to face whatever it is that wiped out all life in the universe. We don't see it anywhere. We certainly don't see it admittedly, we've only just started looking for biosignatures. But if we don't see biosignatures flooding the universe from JWST, then dark times ahead. I'm just saying. Okay. I'm sorry, it is boring. Altogether. So this is where you only found me here today. I've only been here today. So let's talk about this. So Ryan got us here by boosting the server. I would encourage any and all of you to continue boosting the server, mostly to support Discord, but also our server. And I will keep streaming. All right. I got a payment the other week from Google. The first in 3 or 4 months, it was over. They don't send you a payment unless it's $100. So I finally earned that much in all this time, and so I'm going to put it into the Discord server. I'm just going to probably buy Nitro and then get a couple of boosts out of it and boost the server that way. So Ryan got us here, and I'd like to keep going. This is good. One of the things that YouTube has done, which I think is helpful, is they make it so only subscribers can comment. So I can hopefully get out the looky-loos and the people who can't be, their time can't be wasted, the valuable people on YouTube. So they won't be commenting, hopefully. Sorry it was so low, the volume, Galaxia. Like I said, I can't see that. And you're used to, by the way, hopefully if you're not, you should be, technical difficulties in these live streams. I never get it right. But this is my first time using OBS. It's actually a pretty nice little program. I'm pretty impressed with it. So, also sorry that I'm just getting over the COVID. So I'm a bit nasal. Audio's out of sync. Oh, it is, isn't it? 1, 2, 3. Oh, it is. It's probably my encoder. Yeah, it's out of sync here on my desktop too. Oh well, it's a good time to say goodbye, I guess. All right, how often should we do this? Yeah, I got the COVID. Audio and video is a bit out of sync. 1, 2, 3. This is high test. 1, 2. All right. That's enough of that. I will see you guys in, what should we do it? 2 weeks? I'll do it in 2 weeks. How's that? Thursday, 3 o'clock. Get on Discord and tell me what you want to talk about. There's a whole section there on ideas for Tony. Help me out. Tell me what you want to talk about. Because, really, I don't want to... there's so many science communicators out there giving you the latest on news on whatever happened to JWST or what the latest observations mean. And there's all these people, doing really good science content. I can give you some perspective. And that's what I'm good at. That's what I'd rather do. I don't want to sit there and try and, interpret science for you unless it's something that, I can give perspective to, and I'm happy to do that. You want to know my symptoms? Well, it wasn't. Well, okay. So Charlotte works at a public schools, and brought it home. Sore throat, and so she got it first. I got it bad, much worse than I did. But we've both been vaccinated and boosted, so I was expecting to get it really bad. But it turns out last week it was only about 3 days I had. Mostly for me, it was a fever. I got the fever pretty bad, and I couldn't do anything with that. It was I hate fevers, and I couldn't breathe very well. But that's all seemed to have gone now. So so I got through it, and by Thursday, I got it on Monday. By Thursday, I was feeling much better, and by Monday, the following Monday, it was pretty much gone. Now I just have a cough, which I'll probably have forever now. So, yeah, I lost taste and smell. I still can't smell much. Nothing. Charlotte said everything tasted like crap, but I don't have any taste. And I'm the cook in the family, so that's dangerous. But yeah, I don't have any smell or taste right now. So, anyway, I got it. It's over. And I tell you what was worse was there was a respiratory thing that came through. This was been back in October. I got it. Man, that knocked me on my ass. I was out for 3 weeks with that. I couldn't breathe. I was coughing constantly. It wasn't COVID. It was some other respiratory thing. That one hurt because I've had, when I was younger in the Army, I got pneumonia. And so whenever you get something in your lungs, that starts to flare up again. So, yeah, that was terrible. Third Rock, there's a video I will send you. It's about fusion reactor that is being built near me. And supposed to fire up for energy production in the next few years. Cool. Okay. Sounds good, Third Rock. It's good to see you again, by the way. And I did just get your message. Do you want me to read it? You sent me a question. I don't really understand it, though. Let me see if I can find it. Where'd it go? All the people that are on YouTube are like, you're wasting my time. Oh, here's his question. I'll just read it because it doesn't sound like it's any personal. Can someone could someone intercept Voyager or even JWST transmissions with a radio telescope? And if they did, could it be detected? And what would be the result of doing that? Men in dark suits and SUVs showing up? Could someone intercept Voyager or even at JWST transmissions? So a lot of this, the Voyager, let me just take that separately. And I don't know if they are using the same network, but there's this thing called TDRS, which is the NASA. Basically, it's the internet for NASA, and it stands for, I don't know what the T is, but it's Data Relay Satellite Service or something like that. Anyway, that's a network of it's how all the space telescopes and the rovers and all of this stuff, they use this network to transfer data. JWST certainly uses it, but I don't know if Voyager does. Voyager uses what's called the Deep Space Network, and I don't know if that's the same as TDRS, but it operates. NASA operates several huge radio antennas around the world. One of them is in the Mojave Desert. I've seen it. I've been there. It's enormous, and it's designed to listen to the frequencies of very faint spacecraft, of which obviously Voyager is one. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. So anybody, though, with a similar antenna and knows the frequencies, and I don't think it's secret what the frequencies are, could listen to that. Now, when you talk about intercepting, that tells me that you want to prevent others from getting it. But I think that you can, if you had the antenna, which would be, you don't because it's got to be huge, to listen in on those signals, you could get the data yourself. As far as intercepting it and blocking it, you'd have to do that, I think, from space. And it's certainly possible. I mean, it's a very thin line between here and Voyager 1 and 2. You could just occult it maybe somehow. It's a very tight, very faint beam, so it wouldn't take much to block it out and prevent the Deep Space Network from doing it. But you have to do that from space. So theoretically, that could happen. Now, as far as JWST, several things I don't know that I actually kind of want to know now is the transmission from JWST encrypted? It might be. And is it on the TDRS network or somewhere else? Now, they've got it at L2, which is 1.5 million miles away. The signal from that presumably is faint, but not, I doubt it's, I forget the data rates, but they've got to transfer quite a bit of data from JWST and also from TESS. It's also operating. Also, all the space telescopes that are up there, Chandra and even Spitzer is still up, amazingly, taking data. So all these, they've put Kepler, I think, in a safe mode so that it's following the Earth in a certain orientation, but that's it. So I think you can block the signal, but whether you can intercept it and prevent others from getting it, I think is a big deal. You'd probably have to do it from space. You could certainly try and hack into these signals and listen to them yourself. TDRS might not be as hard as, say, the Deep Space Network ones, because these signals are faint. We're talking, what is it? I forget what they say. Voyager 1 has got like a couple hundred watts transmitting power or something. It's not a lot. And so, and it's got to travel all those tens of thousands of miles. So, hundreds of thousands of miles. And Orion's already given us some numbers. Voyager's transmitting at 159 bits per second. And Peter's saying Hubble still works. Yeah, Hubble's up there doing the same thing. Tracking and data relay satellite. Thank you, Ryan. That's what it is. And so, yeah, don't know. I hope that answers your question. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Why would you want to mess up somebody's JWST data, man? Why you want to be like that? Okay, guys, I'm going to stop streaming. I hope you guys have a good weekend. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Again, get on Discord and let's talk about what we're doing next. I really don't want to think all this up by myself. So help me help you. Let's do this together. All right, guys. And if you want to join me, reach out, and I'll figure out a way to get us all connected. All right. Thank you. Well, that's it for this episode. Anonymous Internet Profiles. My name is Tony Darnell. Thank you all so much for listening. And as always, keep looking up. Oh, and listen to Space Junk Podcast, will ya? We're putting those out every week. Listen, go. That's on everything. I'm putting them on this channel. I'm putting the videos on this channel. I'm putting them on Spotify and Apple and all the things. So go, listen, and tell me what else you want to talk about. They're fun. I like making them. I don't do any editing. I just put them up. So, good. All right. How's my puppy? Oh, I don't know if I can show you. She's down here. Her name is Cookie. You guys may remember a year ago we had lost Panther, and so we got Cookie. She's asleep. I can't move the camera. She's underneath my desk, which, by the way, you'll notice different surroundings. That's because I'm rebuilding or redoing my other office. Yes, a puppy. She's now 4 months old. I forgot how much work a puppy is. I'm amazed she let me do this stream without being interrupted, without biting my feet. Anyway, alrighty. Okay, I guess I'm out of here. All right, bye-bye, guys. Wait a minute. Where's my... Oh, here it is. Bye-bye.